I'm back to Tell the Truth channel. Please like, share my content on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And what other content that y'all go on, I appreciate that very much. I am in Jesus and Jesus is in me. All right. My father want me to speak on some things that I really went through in my life. My really struggles that I went through when I was 9 years old. And this is a testimony on what I went through. And Dr. Martin Luther King is a part of this testimony that I went through in my life. Now, when I was young, when I was 9 years old, now forgive me if I start crying because this is really emotional to me. When I was 9 years old, and the time of the part when Dr. Martin Luther King was trying to, get everybody to have, you know, freedom in their lives. Because right now today, we still don't have freedom. We still don't have freedom. People still trying to stop us for living our lives. And back then, I don't have I ain't got nothing against no colors. I love all different kind of races. But this is part of the what I'm talking about. This is part of what we went through back in our days. So back in our days, we had to fight to survive with the white people. We had to fight because it was like slavery days back in our days. It was slavery days. They didn't want us to have freedom. They didn't want us to have freedom. We couldn't do too much of nothing back in our days. And back then, when I was coming up, the police was deep back then. They was taking people down like right on rice. They was just dropping people. Like right on rice, they was taking them down. And I was seeing all that when I was 9 years old. I was seeing all of that. That's the reason why our parents had us to come in before the lights come on the streets. They made sure we come in the house before the lights come on. They didn't want us staying out there because it was too much stuff going on because the white people was always trying to do things to us, you know, to everybody, to everybody. They was trying to do everything to us. They would come in our neighborhood and they would take a bottle of pee and they would throw it at us and try to hit us with the pee and then drive off. Did all of that. I was in a part of the time when Dr. Martin Luther King was trying to get everybody to pull together, when he was trying to get the whites, the blacks, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, all of us to be as one. When he was trying to do all that. That's the reason why he gave his life up, to have all of us to be as one. And I was saying all that when I was 9 years old. I was all tied up in all of that stuff. I was in that when they were sitting there spraying people with the water hose. I was right in the middle of all of that when they were spraying them with the water hose. I was all up in that. I was all up in that when they was sicking the dogs on people, biting them and all that stuff. I was caught up in all of that. I was all up in it when they was walking the street with Dr. Martin Luther King, on Washington. I was walking Washington Street with everybody. I was right along in all of that. All of that. I was in it when I was seeing them killing people and bodies dropping right there by in the building by our windows. And we open up a window and we see dead bodies right there in the window. I would go to school and next thing you know, I'll go around the school and I see a dead body right there. I was just bodies dropping. And we were seeing them at 9 years old, seeing these bodies dropping, like, right on rice, just dropping. We would go in the building, and next thing you know, we'll see somebody shooting drugs as we walking in the building, 9 years old. All of that. I was caught up in all of that stuff when I was 9 years old. I seen people die like crazy when I was 9 years old. I was seeing people drop like flies. Everywhere I went, it was always a body laying somewhere. 9 years old. I even seen people that I love die in their sleep. Hearing them talking to the Lord. Take their last breath. Go in there and see the body laying in the bed, dead. Waiting on the coroner to come and to remove the body. And you know how long it took them to come and remove that body? It took them 2 hours to come to remove the body. And I was there and I seen it. And then y'all wonder why we had nightmares when we was 9 years old. Because we were seeing things that we shouldn't even seen when we was babies. We was only 9 years old and we was seeing things like that. They was breaking in stores. People was trying to survive. It was hard in our days too, but we was making it. But still, the white people was making it hard for us to survive, for our parents to survive. They was pulling stuff away from them. When Dr. Martin Luther King died, do you know what these people had did? When they found out Dr. Martin Luther King had died, it was a riot. They started busting in stores. The police was out there beating them. You know, had their little sticks out, hitting people with the sticks and all of that. These people was throwing bottles and stuff with fire with a rag in the bottle and throwing it in there and blowing up the stores and going in there stealing and robbing, taking things, all of that because they took their lifeline. And Dr. Martin Luther King was the lifeline back in the day because he the one was trying to give us freedom. When these white people didn't want us to have freedom, Dr. Martin Luther King was trying to give us freedom. Because y'all got to look at back in the days when what's their name? What's that lady name? When they had the people when that lady was getting on the bus and they didn't want her to sit in the front of the bus, but she sat in the front of the bus anyway, but she didn't supposed to, but she did. She sat in the front of that bus. And she went to jail for that because she sat in the front of the bus because she didn't supposed to, but she did because she got tired of sitting back there behind the bus like they was treating us like we was animals, that we couldn't sit at a certain park, we couldn't drink certain waters at a park, we couldn't go in certain restaurants, we couldn't use certain bathrooms. They had it all like that back in the days. It was just like that. Only thing, they didn't have a whip and they was tying us against a tree and whipping us. That's the only thing they didn't have was the whip. But everything else we couldn't do. We couldn't do. And it was terrible that we had to see this. Kids had to see them come in and do all of this beating on people. They couldn't even walk the street without a police pulling up on them, just throwing them down on the ground and beating on them. We couldn't even do that. We couldn't walk the streets. Pull you over for no reason. Taking you to jail for no reason, just because you have a color, because you black. So they figure because you black, let me take you to jail. Oh, if somebody white get robbed, it's a black person that did it. Not a white person, not a Mexican, not another race. It was always a black person. Oh, let's blame it on the black people. They did it. So let's blame it on them. That's what the policeman was doing. Because it was all about being prejudiced back in the day. It was prejudice. It was prejudice. We had to be careful, the kids, we had to be careful walking down the street. Because if they seen us crossing the street, they would mess with us. When we just crossing the street, minding our business. And they'll take out some stuff. throw it at us, stick their booty out in the air, get in their car and stick out their booty at us and all that stuff. They was doing all of that back in the days. All of that. We was going through a lot. And we had to see that. Kids. We had to watch them come into people's house, drag them out their house, and take them to jail. We had to watch them go into people's house and kill people in their house. It was many people in the building was crying because they seen all of these people just getting jumped on. Next thing you know, somebody coming in, police coming in, grabbing on somebody, taking them to jail. Or we seeing a dead body laying everywhere. And we was kids. And we was seeing all of that. Right in the middle of all of that. Spraying water, taking the water hose and coming in the building and just spraying the people because they want to walk with Dr. Martin Luther King. Because they showing that they glad that they had somebody that was standing up for us to have our rights that they didn't want us to have. They didn't want us to have that. And I have the right, I can speak on it because I was 9 years old and I was caught up into all of that at 9 years old. I seen all of that. The man's had to be careful to even walk down the street, minding their business. As they walk down the street, a police will pull up on them and say, hey, didn't you just rob somebody? This person just minding their business. Ain't did nothing to nobody. Because you was black. You did that. That's what they was doing. Just because you was black. It couldn't be a white person or another race. It just had to be a black person. Oh, okay, so that black person looked like the person that just robbed somebody. So let's get that person and take them to jail. Because they did it. And wasn't even the person that did it. Because they didn't have the time to do their job. So they figured every black person was a thief. Every black person that walked the earth was a thief. That's how they thought back in the day. That's how they thought. So they was just taking people down for nothing back in our days. Just because we wanted freedom. Just because we wanted to have freedom. And they didn't want us to have freedom. So that's when all of this started. That's why all of this race started, with these people doing all of this. And then that's when all the other black, start standing up and coming in and trying to stop all of this from happening. Because it was too many people back in our days was getting shot and killed just because they had a color. Just because we was black. So they was trying to treat us like back in the days when our ancestors went through the slavery days. So they was trying to treat us like that. When our ancestors was fighting for their freedom, they tried to put us the same way they treated our ancestors. So back in our days, we had to struggle to try to have our freedom. And then when Dr. Martin Luther King stand up to give us the freedom and tell them that all of us should get along. Why can't we all just get along? And it's still right now today, no freedom. And that's why God is down here. Because they just won't let people have freedom in their lives like we supposed to. God, the one, gave us free will to do what we want to do. Man don't have the right to stop our freedom. But that's what they try to do. And God is tired of it. Because it's been going on since the time of our ancestors. This has been going on. This has been going on since the time of our ancestors. And right now, today, if you look at it, it ain't the white folks no more that's doing this. It's your own people. Our own people is trying to keep us in bondage. Our own black people is trying to treat us like we was treated back in the days, our own people, turning on us, trying to keep their own people in bondage. And it's over money, trying to survive. But you got to understand this. The only reason why it's like this, it is because of the people in the hierarchy don't want to give the people what they want. So the hierarchy people is the one is keeping people in bondage. They the one is doing this. They don't want the people to have the things that they need. So they are ending up taking out their own families because they can't get what they need. Because the people in the hierarchy don't want to give people what they need. They up there making money like crazy with these machines. Just making money. That's making money. But they taking the money for themselves and don't want to help the people that need the poor. They don't want to help them. So they sitting up there, they drinking their gin and juice. Because that's what they doing. They sitting up there drinking their gin and juice. And don't care about nobody else. And just watching people while they sitting up there drinking their gin and juice with their families, going on trips and all that stuff, just watching people as they study making money. And telling people they ain't got no money, but they study making money so they can go on their trips. And making people just struggle. Keeping people in bondage. So it's no different back in our days because it's like it's never going to have freedom. It's always that they're going to always keep y'all in bondage. They're going to always try to keep y'all in bondage. Because they don't want y'all to have freedom. They don't want y'all to have freedom. We didn't have freedom back in our days. And every time it turned around, is no freedom. You know, we used to always ask our parents. Because our parents used to always say, excuse me. We used to say, why do we need to go voting? We don't see no changes. And our parents used to say, just keep voting. We're going to see the change. It's going to change. It's going to change. And as we start getting older and we start going to vote, we still didn't see no change. Things were still harder. It was still harder. And we studied asking our parents, when we going to see the change? And still never see the change. And we was kids, it was asking that. Why we can't go certain places? Because if we go across a certain place to go, we had to worry about getting jumped on if we go another place. We had to worry about that. It was certain places we couldn't go because if we tried to go somewhere, we had to be careful because if we didn't, we about to get jumped on or chased back home. From wherever we go, we was getting chased back. We couldn't go certain places. We had to step toe to places to go because that's the way they had it. It was certain places we could not go without getting killed and jumped on. It was just like that in our days. Yes. So y'all don't understand. We went through a lot too. Y'all ain't the only one going through it. It's just worse now. And God is tired of this. He's tired. Because this been going on through time. Through time, this been going on. And it just done got too much out of hand because it's always somebody trying to stop people from living the lives they want to live. Everybody want to take over the world. And then when they take over the world, they don't want to run the world like they're supposed to run it according to God's laws. They don't want to do that. They want to run it according to their laws, not God's laws. Because God gave us free will to enjoy this world. Not to sit here and live in bondage. Who wants to live in bondage? Everybody wants free will. Don't nobody want to live in bondage. But see, this is all they think about. It's keeping people in bondage, living day by day, surviving day by day. But they not surviving day by day. They got what they want, but they want us to live day by day, struggling day by day. How we going to feed our children? How we going to keep a roof over our heads? That's what these people are doing in the eye hockeys. So every time we thought that it was going to be a president that was going to come in and change the world, no, it was always a president coming in and never changed the world. It was still getting worse and worse. Every president they put up in there was not doing nothing. It was still the same. It was getting worse. It was not getting better. It was not getting better. It was still going down and down and down. Just like now. Did you see the president doing everything he's supposed to do? No. Is the world changing? No. Is the world getting worse? Yes. Because when they get up there and say what they gonna do, they not gonna do it for the poor. They gonna do it for the rich, not the poor. We gonna stay exactly what we is, poor. A little bit at a time. That's what you're gonna live. Little bit at a time. They're gonna give you a little bit of something all the time. And they're gonna be sitting up there drinking their gin and juice, watching y'all as they drink their gin and juice. That's what they're going to be doing, like they're doing now. Watching us running around trying to survive while they sitting up there going on their trips, doing what they want to do, and sitting up there drinking their gin and juice. That's what they're doing. So yeah, that's what we went through back in our days. At 9 years old, we seeing all of them bodies dropping. Every time we step out the building, we see a body laying right there. Every time we go behind somewhere, we see a body like right there. One day I was going in a building to see somebody, visit. And as I was going in this building to see somebody, this person, I don't know who it was, they had their door wide open. Okay? So I see a body laying down in the house. Okay? In the apartment. I see the body laying down. So I peep in there. But I didn't go inside because it seemed like to me they wanted me to walk in there, but I didn't. I just like peeped in there. And as I peeped in there, and I was like, what? I was married. I was married. And I was going to visit. I was married. And I was staying in the projects at the time when I was married. So I went to go visit somebody. And as I went to go visit this person, I seen the body laying in the apartment on the floor right there by the door with the door wide open. So I peep in there, see the body laying. They must have thought I was going to walk in like, yeah, okay, right. If that's what you think, yeah. Keep waiting on me to walk in there because it ain't going to happen. So I just peeped in there. And then I came out and I ran down the stairs and I ran into the house, and I told my husband what I saw, my ex-husband. And I got on the phone and I called the police and I told the police I saw a dead body laying in the building. But little did they know it was a setup. It was a setup. He was trying to get me to come into the house, but I didn't. It was a setup. So when I did that, 5 minutes later, the police come beating down my door, talking about somebody said you got drugs in your house. Yeah, that's what they said. You got drugs in your house. So the police come busting in with my kids, all of them in the house, my babies, all in the house. They just bust in the door, coming in, looking in, trying to find drugs. Ain't no drugs nowhere in my house. No drugs. But see, at the time, I didn't know that I could have sued the whole apartment police, the whole police station. I could have sued them for busting in my house, saying that they heard somebody tell them that I had drugs in my house. And they just bust in. And that was the setup. And no drugs nowhere. They ain't find none. And then say, excuse me, we sorry. And just leave on out the door. So if I would have known that, I would have took them to court and I would have sued the whole police station. But see, I didn't know that. I didn't know. And they got away with that. They did. They sure did. They got away with that. Yeah. Just because I called and said I seen a dead body, looked like a dead body, laying on the floor in somebody's house, and I just peeped in there and it looked like a dead body. But it was a setup for me to try to walk up in there and like walk in and investigate and see why the body was there. No, it was for me to walk in there so they can try to pull me in there and do whatever they wanted to do to me. But no, I just like peeped and then just ran on down to my house and called the police and told them what I seen. That's what I did. And I told my husband what I saw. Next thing you know, they come beating my house down. Like, why the heck you beating my door down? I just told y'all, I just saw what I saw. And here y'all come beating my door down. When y'all should have been investigating and see who is in that house dead, which they could have been. But I wasn't taking no chance. Yeah. See, we went through a lot back in our days. A lot. I seen things. Things like crazy I have seen. And I was 9 years old when I seen all of that. And then y'all wonder why 9-year-old kids have nightmares. Because of the things they have to see when they're young. And they have to jump in the bed with their brothers and sisters and run downstairs and jump in the bed with the mom and the dad because they having nightmares. Because of all the stuff they have seen in their lives. Yeah. So when y'all kids is going through things and they jumping in the bed and telling y'all they have seen things. And even if they have not seen things out there in the world, they experiencing things in the house that they seeing that they don't understand. And they trying to tell y'all what they see. Even when they having dreams. When you have dreams, them dreams is for God to tell you. God is telling you what's finna happen in your life when you have dreams. Your dreams is to tell you what's finna happen in your future. So when your children are having nightmares in their dreams, that's God telling your children what they are going to experience in their life. What they are about to go through. And they running in there telling y'all need to listen. Because that's what's going to happen if y'all don't listen to your children when they're telling y'all their dreams. Because your dreams tells you exactly what's going to happen in your life. It tells you. And you need to pay attention to the dreams. And you need to tell your children to pay attention to their dreams. Because when y'all have dreams, you need to pay attention. Because that's God trying to tell y'all some things about what's finna go on in y'all lives. That's what you go through. And right now, like I said, back in our days, it was not peaches and cream back in our days. We went through some stuff. And now y'all going through some stuff. And y'all got to understand, yeah, we wasn't perfect. We went through some struggles, hard struggles. But we had to survive off the little bit that we had. Because they was holding us back too. Just like they holding y'all back. So this is what the Father wanted me to speak to y'all about. About, yeah, what I went through when I was young, 9 years old, seeing all that stuff. It was terrible. Seeing bodies laying everywhere. Seeing people shooting drugs in their arms as I'm going in the building. Running down the stairs trying to get away from it. Because I'm scared they're going to shoot a drug in me. So I'm trying to get away from it. You know? We seen all that back in our days. All of that. Watching them spray the people with the water. I'm caught up in right in the middle of that. People trying to get away because they trying to stop the police from drowning them with water. Yeah, I'm right caught up in all of that. All of that. Walking with the time when Dr. Martin Luther King had everybody to protest and we walking down Washington. I'm with my parents walking down Washington too with them. Yeah, all of that. I was all up in that stuff. All up in it. Yeah. So this is what he wanted me to speak about. Thank y'all for listening to me. Jesus love you. Father love you. The Holy Ghost. The angels, the ancestors. And I love y'all. I don't know what the heck is going on. And I love y'all. And I will be back to talk to y'all again soon. Y'all have a good day and a blessed day.